Hello, welcome to PODnas. This is a sports show with a Southern flair. I'm Daniel Hawks. That's Jarrett Roser. Twice in a row. Let's go. We are going to be breaking down everything you need to know for the LSU-USC game this weekend. It's kickoff weekend. But first off, let's go over. There are some Louisiana teams that already played today. So, Jarrett, can you give us a little rundown, a little recap of the games that kind of went on this yesterday? As recording this.
I was about to say it's 2 p.m. on Friday, so no one has played yet today, but a couple of programs already have their first wins of the season. Thursday night was out at Ullman Stadium for one of these all Louisiana matchups I'll take in this weekend. Tulane started the John Sumrall era at head coach and the Darian Mensah era at quarterback against Southeastern Louisiana, a program you know.
Let's go Green Wave. All right, let's go Green Wave. I got you. You're on the squad now. Yeah, I picked him. I'm all in on rooting for you.
It was a 52-0 season opening win for the Green Wave on Thursday night, and one that I thought a lot of positive takeaways. Certainly the confidence and swagger that the redshirt freshman quarterback brought. It was also their first season opening shutout of an opponent in, I have the stats somewhere, but a while. So a lot of nice positives. They scored on 7 of their 8 possessions and got off the field on the 2 possessions that Southeastern did kind of mount a little bit. But the takeaway from the coaches and that quarterback and a lot of guys on that team last night was essentially, this was mediocre by what we expect our standard to be. And so we know Kansas State's coming next week and that a lot needs to be fixed by then, just clean up some miscues. But I thought really nice way to start the season and, really, really nice mindset about it by that program. And we'll see more next week will be kind of a better litmus test of those guys with 2 potential playoff teams on that Ullman Stadium field on Saturday morning. ULM also got a win against Jackson State. Wasn't always pretty in their own right. They opened it up slightly late, but they get a win, and they had lost their last 10 games of last season. So just with a new coaching staff and whatnot, to start on a positive note with Bryant Vincent and company up there.
Good vibes only. Good vibes only, them.
And the third game last night was, it's not going to show up as a win on the stat sheet for Northwestern State going up to Tulsa, but that's a program that's bouncing back from a tragic, just brutal 2023 where they lost a member of that team to gun violence and had to cancel the rest of the season. And so new coaching staff there in place with Blaine McCorkle and company, and just to get those guys back on the field and kind of building towards some positivity after everything that went on last year was big for them. And so glad to see the Demons start the 2024 season and wishing them well to get that first win at some point as well.
Yeah, it's got to be great to have a little bit of return to normalcy after such a turmoil of last season. So let's move on, though, because we've got a big game on Sunday night in Las Vegas. LSU.
Vegas, baby. Vegas.
They're playing FUSC, and I'm very excited. I can't wait. I can't wait to be screaming that at my TV. I get off work at 5 p.m. on Sunday, and I am literally speeding home in whatever vehicle may allow. I don't care if it's a bike, a scooter, a car, an 18-wheeler, a plane, a train, or any type of automobile. I'm going to make sure I'm back at my house by the time that kickoff happens.
Don't get too risky with it. Keep in mind, as Phil Dunphy taught us, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. All right.
You're right.
No injuries, no whammies.
And I we are in 2024. I can't just watch it on my phone until I get home. So we have the technology. So, but let's go into matchups. Let's talk.
So many references so fast.
I know we're cooking today. The season's here. I think we're both ready. But let's talk about some matchups because that is going to be one of the biggest factors, as they are in every football game. is the matchups. Yeah, let's go into that. Jared, is there anything that you've seen that stands out, or something that is really something to look for going into this game?
Yeah, I think both of these teams, even with new quarterbacks at the helm, replacing former Heisman quarterbacks and all of those things, that both of these teams are going to be really potent offenses again this year and have the ability to put a lot of points on the board. We'll see how they come out of the gates, because a lot of times there's just some kinks to work out as you get into.
Hold on real quick. I have to do this. Didn't you say you were going to interrupt me? Didn't we have a whole pre-show meeting? You were going to interrupt me. That's why I said but and just let it hang.
My bad. My bad. Yeah. All right. So I don't even know that you need the excitement that I think these are going to bring.
All right. All right.
But I did pull four of the best clips of what was a great, really, really exciting Will Campbell media availability earlier this week. Tuesday night, Will, a guy that has the number 7 patch as a playmaker on his helmet as an offensive lineman, left tackle, arguably the best tackle in the nation. I would argue the best tackle in the nation. He came out there and set a really awesome tone that he knows, as a guy that is not a big rah-rah, go say a whole lot guy. He knows that when he does make some comments that his teammates, fans, everybody are watching. And so here were a couple of those comments that I felt like I was about ready to run through the brick wall of the team room for.
All right.
And
I'm ready.
I think you'll enjoy.
Have you set any personal goals for this season? If so, what are they?
Win a national championship. That's it.
I really enjoyed he hit that little chuckle, looked over to the right where I was, and just kind of smiled and was like, all right, next question. What's up?
Like, how do you set that aside and focus on the game?
That's not what we're there for. We're there to play football. I'm not into all the other stuff. I'm only going to Vegas to play football. That's the only time I'm going to go to Vegas is to play football.
Have you guys talked about that?
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows that, we're going there for one reason only. We aren't going to Caesar's Palace. We're going to whatever the name of the stadium is to play USC.
He went on to say he's going there for a fist fight.
I saw that.
To know the name of the stadium. He doesn't care where it is. He just wants USC.
I don't need him to do that. All right. He's got people to get him to and from wherever he needs to go.
Just to see what this offense is going to look like against somebody else?
I mean, I know what this offense is. I mean, I know the type of playmakers we have and the guys that we have not only on this offense but this team. I'm just excited to go hit somebody different than my own teammates.
He was asked after that if there was a word that he would use to describe the offense, and he took a second to say he needed to think of a word that would be appropriate to say on camera before settling for explosive. And then this one to kind of end on what I thought was maybe even the best note of all, of a lot of great notes.
Underdog. I'm going to take him every time. Nobody's expecting what they're about to see on Sunday night. And, we're excited for it. Everybody in this room knows, everybody in this building knows what we have in here. And I don't think a lot of the country knows what we have in here. And, like you said, I want people to be like that, because then they're going to be like, whenever it happens, we're going to be like, yeah, that's what we expected.
Hey, let's go. Let's do it. Let's do the damn thing.
I just got so excited watching him again. But yeah, that was your first time seeing those comments. Go ahead.
One, I can't wait for this man's post-playing commentating career, because he's got such a smooth voice. Oh my goodness, it's going to be great. Wherever he decides to do after, I just want to listen. And I am so fired up. I cannot wait. That makes it. Go ahead.
Oh no, I did a little NFL preview this week with our guy David Hellman from NFL on Fox, and we ended up sidetracked at the end talking about this LSU team because he's going out to Vegas on Saturday to enjoy the weekend with some of our other friends and watch the Tigers. And we talked about Will Campbell a little bit, and so I told him I'd send him that video that night and sent it, and he just said, bruh, that accent, I'm homesick just listening to him.
Yeah. Oh my God. Also a little tidbit about David Hellman, one of our friends. He regularly appears on the show Speak on FS1, which is great if you have not seen it. I don't do this every time, but there have been times where I've been texting him to see if I can catch him slipping with his phone on set.
He lives with his phone on Do Not Disturb to a point where it never works. He upsets Joy Taylor because he doesn't take her calls at first because he's always on Do Not Disturb. And so I've given him hell for that. But if you get through to David on a first try very smoothly on a quick reaction, particularly when he's on set, then you've really pulled off something.
It's the best heist. Listen, it's going to be Ocean's 14.
But so yeah, Will Campbell, I think, should have everyone excited right now. He spoke to when there was a question of just kind of feeding back into what I was saying of expectations for this offense. And we've talked about it throughout the preseason, just previewing this team and this season. Jaden Daniels is gone. Malik Neighbors is gone. Brian Thomas is gone. There's so much turnover in key spots, but I think this offense in particular, behind that nasty offensive line up front, is going to be really, really good. Again, the running game, I think, is going to take a big step forward. They were solid last year, but I think they're going to be a real focal point. Nussmeier, I think we've seen in spots when he's given the opportunity, both in actual games like the bowl game, as well as just watching his development the last few years. He is a playmaker with a big arm at that quarterback spot, and he's got a lot of weapons around him, and they're going to be really good. And so it's really going to be a matter of which of these defenses is ready to come up with more stops, to come up with more big plays in pivotal third down type situations and whatnot. And that's where we kind of watch, who's starting the season a little bit further in their progression and can win what can be a real tone setter game for either one of these teams. And I don't know.
Let's go into some of those biggest matchups. Like what are the things that the key matchups to this game?
I really want to see, I feel confident, and it's a big matchup, but I feel confident in LSU's offensive line to set the table against that USC defensive front and create some lanes that Josh Williams, Caleb Jackson, John Emery, all those guys can take advantage of. And so I think what happens really on both lines of scrimmage is going to be huge. I feel really confident in particular in the LSU offensive line. The LSU defensive line is more of a question mark coming into this season, which is not saying a ton because that LSU offensive line is probably one of the biggest certainties in the country from a position group standpoint. But you need to see the LSU defensive tackles, in particular, Jacobian Guillory and all of those guys. They should cycle in a few different guys on that defensive front, led by Tank Guillory and Gio Paez, the transfer from Wisconsin. Those guys have to hold their own and try to make USC as one-dimensional as possible, make Miller Moss have some pressure on him in some big downs, have some third and distances to you where you're forced to take to the air, and the edge rushers of LSU and the secondary of LSU know what's coming and have a little bit more ability for Blake Baker and company to dial up some things where they're kind of in the seat to force some things rather than being on their heels a little bit. The secondary of of LSU is obviously one that we're going to have a spotlight on and a microscope on all season long. And
I think you could say that for both teams. Both teams' offensive were so porous last year, and both the offensive were so great and the defensive were so porous last year that I think there's going to be a spotlight on everyone on both of those teams because they're both, such national names.
Yeah. They're both going to give up plays. I'm hopeful that this LSU secondary can come into its own over the course of the season, but using this the same way I did on the offensive side, setting the table well, putting the secondary into some positions to be more successful early on against a team that can challenge them, I think is going to be really big. And so for me, from a matchup standpoint, the one that I'm going to be watching the most closely is that LSU defensive line, particularly in the middle, against the USC offensive line and where we get into some third down and distances on that side of the ball.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, it's here. Let's go. Let's get it. Oh, I'm so excited. Oh, I just can't wait. I'm like a little kid in a candy store. This is going to be so great. So let's pick this game. Hey, I'll let you go first. I'll go second. And then we're going to get into some pick'ems of some bigger games and some more games in the Louisiana stratosphere and this college football kickoff weekend.
Well, look, there's no way I could watch those Will Campbell clips and not pick LSU. And folks already know we picked LSU in the game by game season preview to go out to Vegas and win this game. I really like the vibe around this team in terms of this being a business trip. They're not traveling out there until I think late Saturday afternoon or whatnot. They're going in, getting a night's sleep in the hotel, going to work and getting back home. And I like that approach for them. I think we're going to see some big plays by both teams, and I'm talking through coming up with the score in my head because I didn't do this ahead of time, but I think we see LSU win this game maybe 34 to 24. I'll zero in on 34-24 LSU.
Okay. Hey, I'm also going to go LSU, and I was going to go 35-28. So we're so close, but different. Same, but different. The reference game today is just, it's out of control, and I love it. I love it. So what we're going to do next, and this is obviously the first time that we as PODnas are going into a college football season, but we kind of wanted to do a rapid fire pick 'em. I'll throw them up there, and then we're going to keep score. Next week, I'll come back and tell Jared why his picks were stupid and mine were better, and vice versa. So let's get into this. First, we just did LSU-USC. You got what we both did there. Next, number 14, Clemson at number 1, Georgia. Clemson is, last time I checked, a 13.5 underdog. Let's go.
Yeah, I know
we'll go wins loss here. Yeah, we don't need to do score.
Will Campbell likes underdogs, but I'm taking the Georgia Bulldogs to start this season against the underdog Clemson Tigers.
Oh, we agree on that one. I don't think it's going to be close. Number 8, Penn State at West Virginia University.
I think West Virginia, though unranked, is going to be a really interesting team to watch this year, but I got Penn State winning this one.
Yeah, I got Penn State too. Next, San Diego State versus Oklahoma State.
South Dakota State.
Oh, South Dakota State. Sorry, I just put SDSU. My bad.
Yeah.
The Jackrabbits, a much, I would say, a better team than probably San Diego State's, I think, non-footballless college.
The mighty Jackrabbits of the FCS level, the 15-0 Jackrabbits of a year ago. And so we saw that Dakota football prowess push prime in the Buffs on Thursday night. And I think I almost said San Diego State now because of you as well. South Dakota State, I think, has the ability to make this game really interesting against Oklahoma State. I am going to take Oklahoma State to win, but that's probably a more interesting game to me than it would appear on paper to some folks.
Hey, and I kind of agree with you as well. I think it might follow maybe the same little bit of the script from last night, where maybe not as close, because North Dakota had a shot to actually win it, and that would have been lovely. But I'm also going to go with Oklahoma State. Next, we've got number 19 Miami at Florida.
I'm going with the U. That was actually, the Hurricanes were the team that we didn't draft in our college football playoff draft that folks should still check out as we prepare for this season, that I was most surprised by, because I really wanted to get Miami at some point in there, and then just the way some things fell, I ended up taking Tennessee at the end to get another SEC team, but I'm taking Miami. I believe they're going to finally take a bigger step back forward that I feel like we've been waiting on for about a decade. But yeah, the U.
I'm going to be contrarian. I'm going Florida at home. It's hard to play in the swamp. And and that game used to have so much national attention, so much, as the ESPN commercial said, always has national championship, whatever. But I'm going to go.
That's some desperate, hungry Gators that need to have a better season this year.
Yeah. Next, we've got Western Kentucky at Bama. It'll be Kalen DeBoer's first game from Washington. I think we're both know what we're going to pick here, but we wanted to throw it on there. So
yeah. I figured even me saying we should include this game would surprise you, because we will both pick Bama. Western Kentucky, just wanted to note, former LSU quarterback TJ Finley this week named the starter, and so former LSU and Auburn quarterback TJ Finley, now on his 4th school, I believe. He will start against Alabama for a 3rd different program, and he's one of 4 Louisiana guys that are up there now, including a couple former LSU guys that have transferred their way up to Western Kentucky. But I think it's going to be a long day for the Hilltoppers against the Tide.
Yeah, should be. And I guess go my pick, Alabama. I hate that you made me do that. I'm still salty about it. Well, I wasn't going to not do it and give you Alabama, Ohio State, and Georgia. Okay. I just couldn't do it. I had to play some strategy because at first I went with my heart up at the top. Anyway, next we've got number 7 Notre Dame versus number 20 Texas A&M. Notre Dame is going to Texas A&M, a game that I'm going to be honest, I wish they both would lose.
I was going to ask, who are you so excited to pick to win this game
Oh
this week?
man, I'm going to pick Notre Dame just because it's on my teams, my fantasy teams from us.
I'm going Notre Dame as well. I don't know. I won't be surprised either way with this game. I know A&M is a little bit banged up going in, including a guy that I know well, the so dynamic former Bootleggers player, running back Ruben Owens is out for this weekend. They have a couple of other absences on that A&M offense this weekend, and so it's going to be a tough place for Notre Dame to go play to start the season against the 12th man and all that and whatever the hell else A&M traditions go into all of that nonsense. But I'm going to go ahead with Marcus Freeman and company to go out there and get it done.
Okay. All right. Next, Nicholls State versus Louisiana Tech. They're going to Louisiana Tech, correct?
Yeah. And this, I know some Louisiana Tech fans that are close to that program that are not overly confident in this. This is a huge year for Sonny Cumbie and company up there in Ruston, and Nicholls State has been a fantastic FCS program under Tim Rebowe the last several years. Shoot, Tim's probably been there damn near a decade at this point or right about. And so this could be really interesting for both of these programs to start this season if the Colonels could go up there and pull it off. I'm going to take Louisiana Tech to escape it with a win and start this thing off right, but that could get peskier than some Bulldogs fans want it to be.
Pesky's my middle name. Let's go, Nicholls State. I'm picking them.
Is Pesky your middle name?
Yeah. A lot of people pronounce it Pesci, but it's actually just Pesky. Next, we've got Grambling State. They're going to the University of Louisiana, Raging Cajuns, who are also located in Lafayette.
Yeah. That's where I'll be Saturday night. And we've been waiting to see who the quarterback would be for the Cajuns as well. Coach Dez announced this week that it would be Ben Woldridge, and so he'll get first snaps. Will we see Chandler Fields at some point? Remains to be seen in that game. But I'm gonna go ahead and take the Cajuns. Might not open it up as lopsided as what that Tulane game came to be, but excited to see another couple of Louisiana schools on Saturday night, and the Cajuns the pick to win the home opener.
Hey, I'm gonna go with UL here as well. I got to live in Lafayette for an extended amount of time, and got to go to a couple at the time ULL games. And
you're making a lot of Cajuns. You're making a lot of Cajuns really, really happy to hear you say UL so much.
And I had such a good time tailgating, so I got to go with them. All right. I had never got to go in the stadium for a game, but I got to go out and party with them. And it was great. I'm sure the Grambling State crowd has got a great tailgate experience as well. But
absolutely.
That is going to be my sole reason for picking, not knowing a lot with both of these teams.
And look, I got a little shout out. I'll give him a shout out. Brennan Page tweeted at me yesterday when I announced my weekend schedule and said, come on through our tailgate as you make your way to Cajun Field, and we'll kind of show you what we're doing down here.
It's good.
And, it should be a fun Saturday.
Yeah. It gets lit up there. They know how to do it. And finally, we've got Boston College at Florida State. That's going to be a Monday night game to kind of close out the week. What are you doing?
We talk about some teams that have a chance to be kind of pesky, and I think this BC team is a really interesting team to watch this year as kind of a dark horse to make some noise. They've played some big teams, including Florida State, really well in recent years. Florida State looks like they're reeling a little bit coming back from Ireland after that Georgia Tech game, and so this becomes a monster game for Coach Norvell and company really early on in this season for the Noles. I think Florida State shakes back and gets the win, but this could get really ugly really quickly if they don't.
Which, by the way, let's just give a reminder to the folks that Jared picked Florida State. They're on his list. So
Hey, they're on my list this week too, so they need to
All
get
right,
this
all
done and recover this early season situation.
I'm gonna go with you on this one. I think they bounce back from a very tough loss versus I think what could be a sneaky Georgia Tech team. They looked very good. If that's the kind of stuff they're gonna come out with every week, I think they could surprise a lot of people.
Sneaky, sneaky.
Definitely the Max Johnson led UNC Tar Heels. He's
Hey,
okay.
hold on. I'm gonna stop you because Max had to exit the game last night injured, and so hopefully he's all right. Max was always great to deal with, from a media standpoint during his time at LSU. I know the takeaway for a lot of LSU fans was the goofy backward pass and some other things, but certainly wish Max and the Johnson family all the best. Congrats to them on getting the season opening win
A wild game.
Getting fireworks to celebrate from the home Minnesota fans. But
yeah, Minnesota fans just need fire so much going into the upcoming months that they were just trying to get it out early to see if anyone could, catch it, bottle it, take it home. And absolutely, I wish him a speedy recovery. I don't want to see any kid hurt, any player hurt like that. That's not what we want to see. But yeah, that backwards pass lives rent free in my head.
It was heavy on LSU Twitter last night, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. That is all we got for you today. We're going to be coming to you all season with recaps. We'll also be doing some game previews. We're going to have more episodes of the Blender. We've got a bunch of other things planned for y'all, and I'm very, very excited to very, very excited to do it. I'm very, very excited to get into these next upcoming weeks with you, Jared. You got anything else before we get out of here?
No, that's about it. The season is here. We're into the full throes of college football season already. High school and NFL kickoff next week. So just a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And hey, if you like this video, please hit that like button, share it, comment on the video. We'd love to hear from you. Go to the Louisiana versus All Y'all channel. They've got great updates on all things Louisiana sports, from high school to college to professor to professional. Also,
huge breakdowns of all of your favorite professors around the universities. We go, look at the game tape of those lectures and give you everything that we can on their performances.
Absolutely. That'll be one day. That's what we're working towards. That's what we really want to get towards. Chick-fil-A is trying to get to their own streaming service. We're trying to get to a new version of Rate Your Professors. I'm glad we did get too off the rails, but a couple of times we towed the line a little bit. You can also find us on Instagram at PODnas_LA. We're going to have more content.
Yeah, how's the gram going?
It's not going great right now, but we're gonna get there. Okay, listen, we're gonna get there. I just need you guys to follow. Maybe if we had more follow. No, that's on me. We're gonna have to start having more content. I promise. I promise you, it'll be up there. Thanks for now. We've fully gone off the rails. Now I think we should just go for one more minute and get to that 30-minute mark.
No, because we got a minute of really.
All right, PODnas out. We'll see y'all next time. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I've been comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, comma and a comma.